Well, hey everybody, backyard scrapping here. We are actually going to do the final part of Andrew's refine today. This was that button that he sent along with another little bar, but the little bar looks pretty good. And this is the gold that we got, his share of the gold that we got from this refine. I'm guesstimating, this gold in here is nearly pure. Very, very close to pure. This is not, this button. So I'm thinking that this is a high enough carat gold that if we melt these two together, we should just be able to put this gold right directly into aqua regia without it locking out. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on this, get this melted up into one piece, get it cleaned up, and then we're going to put it in aqua regia and re-refine it so we can clean that up. And then we will take the final results from that and melt it together with his little bar that he had, and we will get it sent back to him. So I'm going to go ahead and get this stuff fired up and get this stuff melted. So we'll be back at you in just a second. Alrighty guys, there it is. It's got a little bit of borax on it, but it looks to me like it's plenty high enough carat gold that we should be able to just put it in aqua regia and dissolve it like it is. So just wanted to show it to you before. You notice we don't have any cracks. That's actually borax on top of it right there. But there's no divots or cracks or cave-ins, so that lets you know right off the bat that it's probably not pure, which we know it's not. But normally pure, or near pure or pure gold will usually cave in on the top. Why it does that, I really don't know, but I know it does. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this in the pickle pot. I'm going to get the borax off of it. I don't know, I may hammer it out a little bit. Just depends. It just takes a little bit longer if you don't. I might just leave it alone like it is. But I am going to do a starting weight on this. I know the gold that we got from his refine that we added to it was near pure or purer, or really close. So that'll kind of give us an idea what we lose off of that button. So when I get this cleaned up, we'll get back to you and get it in aqua regia. Okay everybody, there's our button of gold all cleaned up. Boy, it's pretty. Ain't nothing like it. I decided I'm not going to hammer it out, so I'm just going to set it down inside this beaker, and we are going to get some hydrochloric acid on it, and we are going to add some nitric acid to it, and we're just going to get it going. So what I'm going to do, this is a 250 milliliter beaker. What I'll probably do is put about, I don't know, 75 mils, maybe only 50 mils. Well, we'll just do 75 of HCl. Well, that's about 60. I'm going to do 75. I'm just going to do it. Going to take a little bit more nitric, but I want to make sure that this dissolves good. And what we are basically going to do is just get our big bottle of nitric acid out and pour some into this little beaker here. Okay, because I actually really like pouring acids out of these little plastic beakers because they don't drip. So that should be plenty of nitric acid. Yeah, for whatever reason, all this stuff that they put acid in drips. It doesn't make no sense to me. Every bottle I've ever had, when you pour the acid out of it, it drips. Now they make a juice bottle that doesn't drip, but they can't make an acid bottle that doesn't drip. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and add some of this nitric to this. And that should about do it right there. And we're just going to let this booger sit here and dissolve. I'm going to move it over, probably over here into the sunshine, and just leave it sit. And when that gets dissolved, we will drop it and get that powder out. It should be, this should clean it up to really his button, the extra button that we added of his. This should make it pretty darn pure. So, and then we'll go ahead and melt it together with his other bar and get it sent back to him. So you've seen all this before. It's in there. I can already see a little color starting to get into the acid. So I'm going to let this go until it's time to get that powder out of there and clean it up and melt it all together and see what we got. So we will be back at you guys in just a bit. Okay, everybody, it is the next morning. As you can see, we still have, I don't know if you can see that in there, but we still have a little bit of gold left dissolving. This was actually pretty slow, a slow dissolve, and I did it simply because I didn't put it on the heat. I knew I was going to have to leave it, you know, when I put the button in to dissolve. I knew I was going to have to go back over to my dad, so I actually just kind of set it inside here and surrounded it, but it's been pretty cool. I didn't have to add any more acid yet. I've just you know, set it back out in the sun, and it's kind of reactivated. There's just a little bit left to dissolve in there, but as you can see, I don't know how well you can see it in the camera, but there is some junk, you know, some white crap that has, you know, settled out on the bottom. So we do know that you know, other gold wasn't pure, that we had to mix with it. And I think if maybe now you can see that there's still a little bit left, maybe about 1 gram left to dissolve. So I'm going to, hopefully the sunlight will let that, get that active and get it done before I have to leave again today. But I just didn't want to, you know, put it on a burner. In fact, I couldn't put it on a burner and not be here. So this has just been, you know, whatever the temperature has been, and naturally last night when it cooled off, this slowed way down. But the sun has got it going again, so we're just going to continue to let that dissolve till it's gone. Then we're going to filter out that crap that you see down there, and then we'll do a drop and see how much gold we lost off of that 10.03 button that he tossed in to be re-refined with this. I mean, you know, it's possible up to 25% of the weight of that button, you know, is going to be gone, simply because I'm guesstimating it was around 18 karat gold. It may have been a bit higher, it may have been a bit lower, but adding that pure gold that we got from doing the refine that we did allow us to at least dissolve it without having to in-quart it. So I'm going to let this go, and I will get back to you when this is gone and we've got it filtered out and we're ready to drop it. I'm not going to put you through all that. When it's ready to drop, and this time I'm sticking to my guns, when it's ready to drop, then I'll get back to you. So we will see you guys in a bit. Okay guys, I just wanted to show you something. This is the, you know, this is the inside of our filter paper where we filtered off the gold and the stuff that was in the bottom of the solution. And as you can see, I set it out here in the sun and it's turning. So it's actually silver. So I'm going to go ahead and let this oxidize right here in the sun. You can do that. It takes a little while, but just when all the silver is dark, then we'll throw it in a little dish. I'll just roll it up in this and throw it in a little melting dish and melt it, and we should end up with a small bead of silver. Now that came out of that bead of Andrews, the one that wasn't pure, and probably whatever lead was in there and everything else also came out too, and was also rinsed away when we rinsed it. But anyhow, so there was some silver in there, so we are going to have we definitely know we're going to lose a little bit of weight there. I've got everything denoxed. We are actually ready to do this drop. I've got we started with a button somewhere around 15.5 grams. I don't know exactly. I've got everything written down, but it's around between 15 and 15.5 grams we started with after we melded everything together. I think it was actually 15.5. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this. Even if it drops fast, we're going to let it settle overnight. Then I will actually clean that powder out, melt it into a bead, weigh it, and we can see, that way we can figure out just about exactly what carat gold, or what percent, at least what percent gold that other button was. So I'm going to get this thing put on the stand, the camera on the camera stand. We've got our sodium metabisulfite, and we're going to go ahead and do this drop. So I'll be back at you in just a second. Okay guys, here we go. We've got our sodium metabisulfite. We are going to go ahead and stir it in. Boom. Yeah, I knew that was going to drop like a ton of bricks. I'm going to keep trying to stir it for a minute. Try not to hit the sides as much as I can. I hope I didn't keep my hand in front of the flask. I don't remember now. A little bit tired. So this should be a really nice drop. And like I said, we'll go ahead and let it sit overnight no matter what, so all the gold falls out. And then we'll clean up the powder, we'll melt it, and we'll see if we can't figure out what percentage of gold that other button was, because I know the gold that we added to it was, if it wasn't pure, it was very, 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 very close. So we're getting some gold on the stick now, so I'm going to go ahead and rinse that off, and we're going to let this set, and we'll come back and take a peek at it in a little while. Okay everybody, it's only been about 5 minutes, and as you can see, we've already got a pretty fair separation line in there. It's actually pretty transparent through here, or translucent through here already, so it is falling out pretty quick, which is telling me we got some pure gold. You see the line there, and over here is that little filter paper with the little bit of silver in it, so I'm going to go ahead and melt that off and see if we can even get a little bead out of that. And I'll get right back at you in just a sec, as soon as I get this camera set back up. Okay guys, there it is. So we did end up with a little bead of silver. It's got some borax on it. So I am going to toss it in the pickle pot, and we'll get back at you when we're getting ready to melt this gold. Hey guys, just popping in for a second. I just wanted to show you, this has probably been, maybe 2 hours since I dropped this, and we just have a very slight haze in there, as you can see, and we got a nice pile of gold powder in there. So that is telling me that we got a good clean drop, nice and pure. So I just wanted to toss that in for a second. Like I said, I'm going to let this sit overnight, as I always do, just to make sure everything falls out. And I won't be able to do it tomorrow, but hopefully the next day I'll be able to get this melted up, see what it weighs, and do the figures on it, and see try and figure out what that button, how pure that button actually was. Alrighty guys, so we'll be back at you when we are ready to melt this stuff. So we will see you in a few. Okay everybody, there's our pile of gold. I'm fixing to rinse it, get it cleaned up, and get it ready to melt. Actually just got a text from Scrapper D, and he is actually on his way over here right now from Gatlinburg. So I think I'll wait on him to get here so he can see us melt this gold. So anyhow, I'm going to get it cleaned up and get it ready, but then we're going to wait on him. So we will be back at you guys in a bit. Okay guys, we are here to, as you can see, that is Andrew's gold powder from the button. You can see how nice, and it's still wet, and look at the color of that. That's exactly what you want to see. This stuff is going to turn, when we start heating it up, it's going to turn a nice bright tan color, and it's going to make for a nice pretty button of gold. I just want to let everybody know here, we've got our buddy Scrapper D.
Hey folks,
from Tennessee.
That's right.
Slid over this way to pick up some stuff and pay me a visit, and we figured while he was here, we were going to go ahead and finish up Andrew's melt, and later on I'll do some weights and measures and calculations, and we will see exactly what the percentage, or not exactly, as close as I can do. I always tell y'all call me the mad scientist, but I ain't no genius. I just, do what I do. But we will figure out pretty close what the percentage of gold was in that button. So we're going to go ahead and get this stuff in a melting dish, and we're going to get it melted and weigh it up and see what we end up with. So we'll be back at you in just a few seconds. Okay guys, there we go. I'm waiting for it to completely solidify, and then we will pull it out. Oh, there goes a crack. I like that. I like to see that, even if it's a little one.
Wow.
And I can't see nothing now. It looks all knobby because it's got borax all over it, but that is a nice little button of gold. I can't see the crack anymore. There's a little cave in there that I can see on the outside of my red spot in my eyes. But we're going to go ahead and toss this in the pickle pot, and we'll be back at you in a bit. Okay guys, I just quickly came inside to do some figures on this. It actually was much purer than I thought it was. I mean, I tested it with the acid, but I'm trying to figure out something, and I think I came to the conclusion sometimes when you melt gold, or when you're melting gold that has a little bit of copper in it, the copper will kind of come to the surface, which could discolor it or make it look odd. So that's what because I mean, this to me looked like 18 karat gold, which would only be 75%. But, and I meant the button, not it now. Now it's, pure, but I mean the button that we started with, that we were adding to his part of his share to melt together, was 10.03 grams, that button. That button looked to me like it was only, around 18 karat gold. It tested, it held under 22 acid for a bit, but it would fade. But it had an odd color to it. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the copper, maybe there was a little bit of copper that came up on it. And because it actually works out, when I did the numbers on it, it actually works out that that button of gold was somewhere in the vicinity of between 23 and 23.5 karat gold. So it was fairly pure, like 98%, between 96 and 98% pure. So we actually didn't lose hardly anything. I mean, we just lost a fractional little bit amount of gold. I've got the vial somewhere. I think we had 0.05 in silver, which was very minute. So anyway, I'm going to grab this little bar here. We're going to take that little bar out of this bag, and we're going to take this button. We're going to melt the two together for them, see if we can pour a bar. If I can't get a mold the right size, then I'm just going to end up having to do one solid button. But we're going to go outside and melt these two together and see if we can't pour a little bar out of it. So we'll be back at you when we get outside. Okay guys, we have our mold in the mold furnace. I just want to show you real quick. I actually put the gold in it for a second to fire up the gold too. But we are going to heat that little mold cherry red. Keep it that way. We're going to go ahead and get our gold melted. And we're going to pour it. So I've got a lot to do and I only have 2 hands. So I'm going to try and get it set up so that I can actually video the pour. But I have to take the mold out of here. I have to hold the torch. So there's quite a bit that I have to do right now. So I'm going to try and get this set up so you can watch a little bit. And I'll get what I can get, guys. I'll do the best I can. Okay, guys, we're heating this up. We're going to see what happens. I'm going to try and pour that bar one time. If it doesn't turn out, I'm just going to do a button. I'm actually heating that mold cherry red so that we don't get any, we shouldn't get any thermal shock. So I will be back at you in a bit because this is going to be a little awkward. Alright guys, I hope you were able to catch that and see it. We actually did get a fairly decent little pour. I mean, it's not an ounce, so it didn't fill the mold, but we didn't get any splatter or anything along those effects. So our little bar is actually solidifying right now. I'm going to let it go for a minute. See if I can get you a little over here a little bit better. That's what I mean. It's kind of hard to do stuff like this sometimes when you only have 2 hands. So we do the best we can, right? I'm just going to leave it like that for now for a minute. Dump it out. But see, when you're pouring a small bar of gold like that, that mold needs to be cherry red, and it needs to be cherry red when that gold hits it. If it's not, you're going to have, you're going to have some gold bouncing around. I mean, now I'm just telling you that because I've learned it the hard way. You definitely want that gold to be nearly close to the same temp, or that mold to be nearly close to the same temperature as the gold. There she is, guys. About 23 grams of gold. Now I am going to try a little trick here in a second. I'm actually going to see if I can fire polish that. So what we're going to do is we're going to let this other stuff cool down a little bit, and then I'm going to hit this with the torch till I can see it, till I can see it literally starting to melt, and then I'm going to hit it with some borax. So we will be back at you guys in just a few minutes. Okay guys, there it is. There is all of Andrew's gold in one little place. So that is going to wrap up this refine. I'm going to get this packed up and shipped back to him. Looks like our fire polish took pretty good. So it's probably a bit over, it's a bit over 3/4 of an ounce in total. We actually got 5.47 grams out of his scrap. We re-refined his one button, which ended up being a lot purer than I thought it was. It just must have had like a copper coating on the surface or something, to throw the color off like it did. And then we took everything and melded it all into one. So I hope you guys enjoyed this series. I know it was kind of a long one, but with what's going on in my life right now, I can only do what I can do when I can do it. So everybody take care, and we will see you all in the next video.
I hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.